So I decided to join Deloitte and become an entrepreneur within an already well-set consulting firm. For me, neuroscience is probably the AI in, I hope, 5 years, probably in 10 years. We don't leverage the full potential of the tools that we have. Take some risk, apologize later.
Welcome to Business Minds. Today we are delighted to receive Romain Pourchon, Senior Manager at Deloitte Digital. Romain, thank you very much for being with us today. So first of all, I would like to ask you to describe your role and your responsibility just in a few words to help our audience understand what it consists in.
So I'm a Senior Manager, part of Deloitte Digital, as you said. So my role is to help our clients and have an impact that matters on society and across the different industry. To help them during their transformation, especially leveraging digital technology for building products that have a purpose for their own end user. And my internal role is to make sure that we integrate some UX designer or UX strategist and UX researcher as part of all of our projects.
Perfect. We will dig into that a bit more later. So first of all, to understand the journey of your career, we would like to take a little step back and ask where it started. So my first question is pretty simple. Where did you grow up and what kind of job were you dreaming to do as a kid?
I grew up in France, near to Marseille, Aix-en-Provence. I always did sports and I was always very competitive. So I think my interest for the business was around the fact that I always wanted to have a coverage on the market and on where I can have an impact on. As a kid, I always wanted to have a job that has an impact on society. So it sounds very general, but nothing related to consulting, nothing related to business especially, but I always wanted to help people and make their life easier. So my grandfather was a doctor, so it was probably a sort of inspiration. And he then became the mayor of the city where we lived. And that's where I saw him having, an impact by taking decision, on infrastructure, architecture, on business decision, budget assignation. And I think that inspired me to have the job I have today, which is actually to take decision and help my clients to take decision on how they should invest to drive digital transformation.
Excellent. And so for that mission that you built for yourself, what kind of personality traits did you exhibit early on when you were younger to pursue this kind of path?
As I said, a little bit competitive, a little bit empathic over the other people I collaborate with. I'm also very curious, always keen to learn about new trends, new technologies, a new way to work. Resilient, I would say. We are in the world where a lot of changes happen, and when you need to adapt yourself based on these changes, because otherwise you start to become less and less important or impactful, I would say that's the personality traits related to me.
Excellent. And what did you study? What kind of studies did you pursue? And when you were studying, did you already have a clear goal in mind of where you wanted to go with it?
I decided to come to Canada with the idea of graduating in business, in administration, because it was large enough to apply by business acumen to any type of work, any type of field. So I did a bachelor in administration, in business, with a specialty in IT. But that became an interest a little bit later. Initially, I didn't have a strong choice about the specialty I wanted to focus on. And then after graduating from the bachelor, I decided to continue in IT by doing a master in the exact same field, but with a focus on user experience for making sure that the way we build technology is actually human-centered and around the end user, and not only about what the business wants to achieve through this technology. So that's my academic background. And after graduating from the master, I decided to join Deloitte.
Excellent. And so you mentioned your grandfather a little bit early on. Who were your inspiration figures in general? Any role models that inspired you to lead the way? Were there any others?
I would say family overall. I talked about my grandfather, but I remember when I was a kid, my parents were talking a lot about business. They are working in the same industry in the public sector, especially in public transportation. And even if they were not part of the same company, they had every time some discussion about, some RFPs, some way to manage employees, some potential constraint from municipalities and their own clients. And I was always very curious to hear what they were discussing and what was challenging about running a business, managing a team. So it was sort of an inspiration.
Very nice. And so, still in these younger years when you were studying and everything, did you envision that you would become one day senior manager at Deloitte?
I don't think so. I went like very day by day. Initially, even when I joined Deloitte, I've heard that people were, taking all of the opportunities that Deloitte was providing and doing their consulting journey for the next 2-3 years. So I was like, okay, I will probably do the same thing. I will get some experience in consulting, probably do the same journey and get some inspiration for the timeline of 2-3 years, and then probably see opportunities in the market and go to the industry. And now it's been 6 years, and I'm still very willing to continue my journey with Deloitte. So I really go day by day, and I accept all of the opportunities and projects I receive. All of them are very different, and it gives me some additional reason to continue to learn and continue to grow within Deloitte.
Excellent. So you mentioned there are different projects from different industries. Can you walk us through the main steps of your career, how you grew in different roles in Deloitte?
Mm-hmm. I've been hired as a UX researcher to actually build this team around UX research, because UX was not a typical field that Deloitte was addressing at that time.
Can you define for us what it is?
So UX is user experience. So it's the science, because it's really a science, for making sure that we always design a product, digital or not, with the end user in mind, for making sure that it has a purpose, it has a real added value, and it is useful, but it is also usable, so user-friendly and easy to use. So I decided to join Deloitte to build this team, because I was a sort of entrepreneur. I always had multiple ideas of building new companies, but I found this one very, very interesting, because I was part of an already predefined ecosystem with some collaborators, some people who were already advocates and ambassadors about the field, even if they were not experts, and where you have actually no risk from a financial perspective to fail. So I decided to join Deloitte and become an entrepreneur within an already well-set consulting firm. And then over the years, my field grew a little bit. I focused initially on UX research, and then I quickly became to the conclusion that you can actually not do research if you don't have any prototype to test, because the main purpose of doing UX research is to do usability tests. So evaluate how people behave in front of the product that you are designing. And then I decided to grow this team and hire a designer for prototyping the product I had in mind, to make sure that we can actually test it and then send it to the development team to make sure it is created. So that's the few steps. And obviously, after getting more and more experiences, I had the opportunity to take more management roles. So I literally did the whole consulting structure, beginning from consultant, then becoming senior consultant, and then I took management roles. So I became manager, and now I'm senior manager.
Excellent. Can you give us a few examples of projects that you've been working on?
So yeah, mostly around digital, because we are part of Deloitte Digital. So I would say one of the first type of project that is representing what we mostly do in Deloitte Digital is implementing a CRM. So a CRM is a technology that helps companies to have a 360 degrees view of their customer. Sometimes it can be a customer like you, me. Sometimes it can be a citizen. And obviously, the CRM has an impact on this end user, but also on the employees who use the interfaces and who interact in the daily basis with the CRM. So I'm thinking about employees part of a call center, for example. So the main project is to implement a CRM for helping companies to enhance the user experience and give him or her more flexibility and autonomy to complete some transaction and update their own information. And also the employees to automate some tasks that were done manually or on an Excel sheet before implementing the CRM. So that's one project. Another one that is a little bit fancy is implementing a voice bot. So a voice bot is a chat bot, but for a call center where you have actually no visual interface and where the interface that you use is actually a form. Today, most of the companies have a call center or contact center where a human agent will actually welcome you, will ask you how I can help you. And most of the time you are transferred to the right department or the right agent for being able to complete the transaction. Tomorrow, with this type of voice bot, a bot, literally, a bot will welcome you, will ask you this question, how can I help you? And make sure to collect all of the information that the bot needs to redirect you to the right human agent that is first expert and have the ability to help you, and second available to help you. So that's a technology we implemented for a large financial institution, one of the most important one in Quebec. So I had the opportunity to help this company from the very beginning for defining their business case and finding the technology to the end where we actually launched the technology progressively and have more and more calls from people like you, me, who call the bank and who are redirected either to a human agent, either to a bot who can complete the transaction autonomously.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. That was pretty complete. You also mentioned that with experience, you got to pursue managing positions. What would you say are the most important skills to acquire, to get promoted and acquire these managing positions?
I will say, if we come back to our early management courses, there are two skills. There are soft skills and hard skills. Obviously, part of Deloitte Digital, we always need to be always updated about the technology, especially in these days where everything is disruptive. We talk about AI, Gen AI. We need to be aware about how the technology works and how we can leverage this technology for business purposes. So that's the hard skill I would suggest to younger people to get, to make sure that they understand at least the technology they design for or they advise. The soft skills I will recommend is probably resiliency. Related to my previous point, the technology is evolving a lot, and we literally see disruptive technology not every 10 years, but every 2 years. And I think it's very important for anyone from a management perspective or from a delivery perspective, to understand that their jobs can be affected by a new upcoming technology. And they need to be resilient enough to adapt themselves from this change and make sure that they can leverage this new technology for their own work, even if their own work will evolve over the time.
Very nice. Thank you very much for this. So this was a bit more about your journey. Now I would like to ask questions more about the personal reflections about your job. First one is pretty simple. What do you like most about your job?
I would say the range of the possibilities that you have within Deloitte. Obviously, as a consulting firm, the first thing we think about is projects. We work and we have the chance to be Deloitte, so to work for a very large panel of clients from different industry with different type of business problematics. So that's the first part. But the second part is also internal. Projects is obviously what makes our business viable. But before beginning a project, you need to build a team, train this team, make sure that this team is available and is well equipped by accelerators, assets, methodologies to actually deliver in the future, and even before delivering a project, selling a project. So what I like the most at Deloitte is the large possibilities that you have and the fact that you are not segmented to a specific role, and the 3-4 bullet points that is summarizing and explaining the job description you applied for initially. Yes, you applied for a role of consultants, but if you see an opportunity to build a new service line, build a new service offering, and if you think that Deloitte is actually tackling this topic, but not to the whole potential that you see, no matter what is your level and no matter what is your experience, you can take the ball and lead it. So you are really not constrained to a specific sandbox that your manager defined for you.
Very interesting. And so you've been in Deloitte for over 6 years now, correct? Mm-hmm. What are you most proud of in your career as of this day?
I would say the impact I had for my clients and for their own clients, for the end user. Consulting is well known for building beautiful PowerPoints and running presentation to CEO and to the executive board. But at the end of the day, if this presentation doesn't have an impact, I don't consider that my job has been done at its full potential. So even if it requires some investment from a time perspective, but also from a money perspective, I feel it's our work and it's our job to go beyond the outcomes that we define, not limit ourselves to the outputs of a contract, but really go beyond the collateral impacts of these outputs. So seeing how the business leveraged this technology. When Deloitte left, is it something that they were able to autonomously operate and make evolve? If not, same thing. I think that a consultant has the job to do a follow-up a year or 2 years after, come back to the client side and see how were you able to operate and make evolve the technology we implemented together 2 years ago. That's, I think, the most aspect I'm proud of, to see my clients autonomous, to see my clients telling me, we actually don't need you for this aspect because you help us in the right way to make us more autonomous. But we actually need to replicate the same approach on another technology or another business line, and that's how you grow your relationship with your clients.
Very nice. You seem to really believe in it. That sounds pretty good. Looking at the other side of the coin now, what is the biggest crisis you've ever had to face, and how did you manage to come through it?
Obviously, as a consultant, we are very dependent on the economic cycle. So the crisis, even if I think we are always proactive to anticipate this type of crisis, is to accept to push some initiative that we had in mind and we wanted to invest in for the upcoming months, to see them push back and put at the bottom of the backlog. I don't think it's a crisis, but it's just, again, a need to be resilient and accept that, yes, we are dependent on our clients. If the economic cycle is not lucrative enough to actually inspire our clients to be innovative and implement new technologies, we are on the bench and we accept to wait that they're ready for. But I see that as a challenge that can be considered as an opportunity for us, because it gives us actually some time to think about what will be the needs of our clients next year, and take this time to invest in new asset, new accelerator, and new products, and be ready when they will actually come back to us and ask us to implement this type of technology.
Excellent. And so earlier you mentioned the hard and soft skills that you could acquire as to become a manager. More generally, what do you think are the most important skills that you have acquired so far with all this wide range of technological changes?
I would say curiosity. when you graduate, you are trained for one purpose, and you think that you are limited to this field, and you think that you can actually do only that. And because you graduated in this field, you are equipped for exclusively delivering services around this field. But my Deloitte experience showed me that no matter for which reason you have been recruited, it really depends on your willingness to lead something and learn continuously about this topic to actually become the expert. And to be honest, most of the services and projects I'm doing today are not topics that are addressed by university or by scholarship, traditional scholarship journeys. So that's something you need to learn on the field by brainstorming with your clients, by learning about emerging topics online, by being inspired by your competitors, by just benchmarking what you do and compared to how other companies do the same thing. So yes, curiosity, because again, to come back to the reason why I've been hired, it's probably 10% of my time today that I dedicate for this reason, because my job evolved over the years.
Okay, and you mentioned that you had to learn everything on site. Did you ever have the imposter syndrome at the beginning?
Definitely, and I think I'm not the only one in consulting to have this type of feeling, and you quickly find that this syndrome is like purely perceptual and purely biased by the way you evaluate yourself, because when you compare how you perform with your peers, you see actually that no matter your age, no matter your academic background, no matter your previous client and past projects, you can actually become a subject matter expert in a specific field, and nothing is blocking you or reducing your velocity. So I quickly concluded that the imposter syndrome is something that I evaluated, and at one point I found that it was not relevant.
Did you get help from your managers maybe to help cut this?
Sure, that's always a discussion we have internally, and today I have with my coaches, because they came to me and get to the same conclusion, feeling that they are not actually the right person to delivering these services, or they don't feel that they should have the brain of Deloitte behind them on their shoulders to deliver services because they just graduated. And I always tell them that, the reason why our clients choose Deloitte is not because of you personally, it's because you are equipped by proven methodologies and accelerators, and you are supported by a whole community of practice behind you. Even if these people don't bill and are not part of the project, and that the client don't see them, the services and the added value you're going to deliver are approved by this expert and this system. So they pay for a whole ecosystem. So you should not be shy to deliver your services, because you're not alone.
Very interesting insight. And so earlier you also mentioned the quick, fast pace of the technology change. Mm-hmm. We are in Montreal, which is known to be a big hub for AI. How does that impact your work, positively or maybe not?
So for AI specifically, outside of consulting, we have a team focusing exclusively on AI. This team called Omnia has been launched around 5 years ago, and the group is working on either building services and advisory work for our clients to embed AI in their operations, or build assets and accelerator to implement within their ecosystem, their technology ecosystem. So we work very collaboratively with this group, with Omnia. The project that we were talking about the voice bot, was actually led by Omnia, where I contributed as a design lead. So again, that's a good example of how Deloitte is delivering services to their clients. We take every business probability with a green dot point of view. green dot point of view represents the transversal approach across all of our service line. So even if you contacted one person being part of one specific group, you can be sure that this person will contact all of the relevant person within Deloitte, even if they are not part of the same service line or the same group. So AI is addressed by that. AI is only one topic about emerging technologies. For example, when I've been hired as a UX researcher, I had the responsibility to build and grow our partnership with the Tech Tree Lab, an academic laboratory specialized in user experience, but that is known to be very innovative in neuroscience. So for me, neuroscience is probably the AI in, I hope, 5 years, probably in 10 years. And we already invested 5 years ago in this partnership to first understand what is neuroscience and how neuroscience can be applicable in a business context. And second, same logic than Omnia, deliver services or build asset and accelerators to be ready as soon as the market will be mature enough to embed neuroscience in their operation. And I think we are at the step where neuroscience can start to become more and more known and more emerging. For example, you may have heard the Vision Pro done by Apple. The Vision Pro embeds some eye tracking and can also integrate some EEG headset as part of the virtual reality headset.
Wow.
So it starts to become actually a norm for the Apple of this world. No, not probably all of the companies, but if Apple is investing in this type of technology and is acquiring small startups specialized in neuroscience, it's probably because in 10 years, it's going to become the norm, as today it's the norm to implement AI.
Interesting. That deserves a follow-up in the future. So now looking at the external image of Deloitte, we know it's part of what we call a big four in consulting firms. How does that affect your day-to-day job? Is this something that you feel working inside Deloitte?
To come back to the imposter syndrome, I think the fact that you are working for a big four is giving you even more responsibility as a consultant to deliver the best services for our clients, because you have a brand behind you. It's not only your own brand, and our clients choose Deloitte for the quality and the fact that our consultants are very rigorous. So you need to make sure that every little things that you do, even if it's one slide on a PowerPoint, it needs to be perfect for your direct clients and for all of the other stakeholders of the account and the client you are working for, because this slide or this technology can be visible at one point and can be accessible to the CEO. So you need to make sure that every word you choose, every images that you leverage on the slide needs to be well perfect, because at the end of the day, at the bottom of this slide, it's the logo of Deloitte and not your own logo. So it gives a lot of pressure, but at the same time, it gives you also a lot of credibility to present your services, because again, you're backed by a community of practitioners behind you.
Okay. Did you ever have such situations where you had to present something that came to the eyes of the CEO?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay.
And sometimes you are aware about that, so you can anticipate the fact that you are building a presentation for your direct clients and potentially for the CEO the next week. But sometimes you are pretty surprised how far your deliverables can go within the company, and in the short term, but also in the long term. Funny thing is, sometimes my clients I worked for 2 years ago contact me and ask me, okay, can you send us back the deliverable and the presentation you gave it to me, or can you use this presentation and come to the leadership board community and present it? Okay. Because we were a little bit earlier in the stage, but today is the right time to actually present the deliverables, because we feel there is a momentum. So you need to be ready at any time, and you need to make sure that the content you delivered in the past is ready to be shared for anyone in the firm.
Very good. And so you mentioned also earlier the coaching programs. How have your goals evolved? You said in the beginning you didn't really know what your long-term goals would be. How did that evolve as of today?
It evolved a little bit. I still use this day-by-day approach, because I don't want to put me some additional pressure about an objective I want to achieve in 5 years or 10 years. I don't think it's a representative of a lack of visionary, but I just don't want to feel a pressure to achieve this goal. But it evolved a little bit because obviously after 6 years, my personal network within Deloitte grew a lot, and I had the opportunity to see people evolve and see how they manage their own career. So it is a sort of inspiration, because sometimes you feel that someone becoming a partner choose these steps and choose these accounts or these sectors, which is sometimes a very good choice, very bad choice, and it just gave me some opportunities to get lesson learned and adapt my own career based on that.
Very good. And so with all the different projects that you've been working on, have you developed some techniques, some tips to stay organized and time efficient with all of this?
I feel that we don't leverage the full potential of the tools that we have. And the tools sometimes can be obviously the digital tools that we are equipped for, but also the typical traditional tools of a paper and a pen. I learn a lot about the full potential of these tools and how to use them for the right purpose and for being efficient, and not be lost in the administrative stuff, in the way you organize your task, to take probably 10% of this time to build my to-do list every Sunday for the rest of my week, and then focus 90% of my time on delivering added value.
Okay, very good. And so for someone who would like to start their career in consulting, what would you say would be the first few points to focus on?
In a consulting firm large as Deloitte, you first need to understand how Deloitte is structured and which service line you will be interested to apply for. Because obviously you can be interested by Deloitte, by the brand of Deloitte and the opportunities that Deloitte can give you. But the first thing that you need to anticipate is the question about, okay, but for which service line you want to apply for? And there are tons, and there are a lot of opportunities. So you need to choose your own battles and learn about the purpose of each service line, and if it is well aligned with your own personality, the career you go. And at least at one point during the recruitment process, you will be able to answer to this question and demonstrate that you did your own research and you actually know what you want to do.
Excellent. And so last question of this segment, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? And would you give the same piece of advice to your 18, 20-year-old young self?
I will say take some risk, apologize later.
Wow, a very good one. Thank you for this. So now to end this interview, we have shorter questions to have your personal reflection. First of all, what do you have left to accomplish?
A lot, because I feel I'm still young and I have a lot of years in front of me to achieve new things. Can be in digital, can be in technologies, it can be on other things. I don't know what I can expect for the future, but what I know is that I only did 6 years, and if I retire around 60 years old, I have way much more years to accomplish, way more than what I have accomplished so far.
Makes sense. Risk to take, apologies to do later. If you could have a private meeting with someone, anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Probably Barack Obama, because I feel he had quite a journey with a lot of challenges, and I think I can learn a lot from him about how he stepped up and decided to push beside some challenges that he had, even if he was young, even if he was a black male, even if he had very progressive ideas at the time where he needed to grow his career. And that will help me, I think, to, again, take some risk and accept that sometimes you don't need to overthink, and you just need to go ahead and see how the journey will happen.
Excellent. Now, a few personal favorites. First of all, what book inspired you the most?
I would say a book that I read when I was very young, before university, at high school. Very philosophic book called Candide by Voltaire, because it was the first book that was written as a novel, as a very accessible book for a young guy, but where the message behind is actually very philosophic and can be considered at every step of your career. And I remember this quote that I keep in mind, that is the conclusion of the book, where in French it's il faut cultiver son jardin. So in English we will say you need to continue to grow, you need to continue to learn and focus on your own garden, and make sure that you are not disturbed by other things that you have actually no impact on or no influence on.
Very good. That one was original. We never had that before. Thank you for this. What's your favorite movie/TV show?
Probably a funny one, or at least someone who guide me, who inspire me in a world where I could not be part of. Something like Breaking Bad, for example.
Okay, interesting. What's your favorite quote?
Again, to come back to Candide, il faut cultiver son jardin.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Last question of this interview. What can we wish you for the future?
At least the same success I had for the past few years. Continue to grow at Deloitte and see my own clients shine, where I know I will be in the background behind their own efforts.
Excellent, beautiful conclusion. Romain, thank you very much for being with us today. This was Romain Pourchon on Business Minds.
Thank you very much.
Ok, merci.
C'est bien que ce soit toi qui refasses la première fois. Après, moi, je pourrais attraper.
Nice.